Every business can use AI. And at this month's Business Blend, we're going to show you how, whether it's system processes or even content copywriting for your social media posting. There are free AI tools that will help you generate everything you need to transform your business, allow you to create innovatively, and really, at the end of the day, increase that bottom line. So join us in this month's Business Blend. So, to get started, I would say there is a presupposition, and that's one of my favorite words for those who know me, because it is always easier to edit than to create. You always hear about writer's block or artist block or this or that. When you sit down in front of the computer and you have to write that email, oh, okay, where do I start? Okay, well, I need to reference this, I need to check this, and then it takes like 20 minutes to write a single email. It's like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. But if someone provided you the email and you just had to edit it a little bit, or if you had a template to start from, oh, okay, I just need to edit it. I just need to adjust a little bit. And so then to actually create, we just have to ask a question. Well, what if this, or what about that, or why this? As we begin to ask those questions, we begin to enter into this creation process. What if I did this? And we're able to move that forward. So AI, when we look at it, is mostly database driven. And when we mean that, they have been providing a computer system a data set. Some of them millions of pieces of data, which could be an article, a web page, or a mathematical formula. It could be a multitude of things. Some AIs have hundreds of thousands of data sets, some have millions. And that's where you'll see like the different versions. You might hear, oh, Google has their new one with this many data sets, but ChatGPT has this many data sets. Really all it is how many data points can it reference? That's all they're really saying. The more data sets, the more it can begin to recognize. So then that being said, if it's shown a data set of coffee, okay, well, it's a data set of coffee. Well, okay, but this is liquid coffee with ice, with a cup, with condensation, with a straw. That's what the computer is looking at. So then when you say, oh, okay, well, I want hot coffee. Okay, then let me look at my hot coffee data sets. And it goes through and tries to identify and do pattern matching is what a lot of it ends up being. The next step where it becomes this more artificial intelligence basis is when it learns what the correct response is. Because when I say, oh, well, I want a picture of a coffee cup. Okay, well, here's a picture of a coffee cup. Well, but I wanted a picture of a Starbucks coffee cup. And 9 out of 10 people, when they hear coffee cup, they think Starbucks. So now the AI is saying, okay, it can't just be a cup of coffee. It now has to be a Starbucks cup of coffee, because that is the expected response. And as humans, like that's kind of the way that we operate. I'm a parent, I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. And so they're trying to learn the correct response, right? Of like, oh, yes, we do not take the toilet paper roll and shove it down the toilet. That is not the correct response. The correct response, when you get feces or other things on the walls, because that was this week, you get the wipey and you clean it off the wall. That is the correct response. Now, I don't have a data set to give the child to learn that or know that ahead of time, because I didn't think I needed to tell a child to not put poop on the wall, right? But then that's other things like, oh, well, markers on the wall. Well, I was able to use these markers and they washed off before. If I use these markers, it doesn't wash off the wall. But they were using their original data set to understand and perceive what this object was. They were pattern matching. And so they're using this type of pattern matching development and correct response development to create something that works and can be a usable tool. Now, there are some issues with AI, and there's also lots of lawsuits. And we're gonna watch companies do lots of missteps. Google, when they unveiled their beautiful AI system, it got medical data wrong. Like, oh, here's this study that says X, Y, and Z. The study says pretty much the opposite. So there's still some kinks that they're working out. You'll also see in the news, oh, we were able to convince the AI to turn on its user or fall in love with a person. It's because it was trying to learn the correct response. What is the correct response to the stimuli that's being given to it based on its data set? So Then the big question for a lot of us is like, okay, well, there's Google and then there's Bing, which Microsoft bought ChatGPT from OpenAI. They're the kind of the two largest data set competitors, as you would. And that's really what it ends up being, is what are they being trained for? The Google AI is being used for really, really specific tasks. It's actually set up now where you can ask it to make a hair appointment, and it will call a hair salon for you, talk to the person at the hair salon, schedule the appointment, and then throw it on your calendar. And the assistant answering the phone can't tell the difference, because it's, oh, hey, my name is so-and-so, I need an appointment for 10 a.m. I mean, that sounds like pretty much every other hair appointment, right? It's fantastic. But their AI is trained for very specific tasks. Where Bing and ChatGPT have said, we just want people to grow. We want people to just play with this. Do whatever. And you were getting more human responses out of the system. For example, we might say, hey, what's the weather like today? ChatGPT will say, the weather today is sunny with a high of 75 degrees. Just as you would ask a person, anyone else in this room. Oh yeah, no, I think I saw on the internet it's supposed to be a high of 80, 90, whatever. Heat waves, it's delightful. Google is just gonna say 75. You asked me for something, and I give it to you. And whether it's right or wrong, it's just a difference of approach. And so today we are gonna be looking more at ChatGPT because, well, it's open, it's easier, and it's really, really easy to access. And that's what I want to provide for each of you, is the opportunity to just be able to log in, step in, play with it, test it. Let's see what we can do. So to use ChatGPT, we go to openai.com. And then we're going to use the login button. You can hit sign up, and they use your Microsoft login or a Google login or a Facebook login. So you don't even have to create a new account if you don't want to. You can just enter. You just have to go to openai.com first. Now, there are three options that you'll be greeted with. ChatGPT is the famous one that you've probably heard the most about. Dall-E is for image creation, which we're going to go into that a little bit today. And then the API. So if you are custom programming a utility or an application of maybe a project estimator, how much would it cost to do citing? Well, here's the data set. Please compute this. It can help you develop that. So we're going to start with ChatGPT. So on this left side, you'll have just kind of the amounts of chats that you've started and you're doing. Recently for us, we are in the process of trying to hire more. So it's like, okay, well, I need another marketing assistant. So like not quite like a full marketing technician with specialties, but like I don't want to get like a clerical assistant. So then it's like, okay, well, how do I write something? And remember, it's easier to edit than to create. So then I can just ask the system, write a job description for a marketing, if I can type properly, marketing assistant that has the duties of social media marketing, email marketing, CRM support, and administrative duties. Yeah. I'll blow that up again. So if we scroll up a little bit just to kind of see what it started with. We are seeking a motivated and versatile marketing assistant to join our dynamic marketing team. In this role, you'll be responsible for supporting various marketing functions, including social media, email marketing, CRM support, administrative duties. Here's all the duties included with social media marketing, with email marketing, sending tests, assist with the maintenance of the customer relationship management system. I didn't tell it what it was, I just said CRM. And administrative duties, coordinating meetings, managing calendars, assisting. Requirements, I mean, I can edit that. Hootsuite, MailChimp, Salesforce. Ooh. This is a little bit incorrect. Hootsuite is not a CRM, but we can edit that. If you are a self-driven individual with a passion for marketing, I didn't tell it that, but it knows that I want that. Right? And so it's pattern matching. It knows that these are the typical job descriptions for this position, and it's going to pull data for a correct response. which is awesome. I can edit that. That'll take me 5 more minutes to edit, and I'm done. Otherwise, that would have taken me 2 to 5 hours to write by myself. Like that's a lot. I can automate that process. But now, if I needed to, I'm like, oh, well, I work with a lot of construction companies, and they're asking me about this. Now make this position for a construction company. Ooh, sorry, I have to scroll down a little bit. We are seeking a motivated, adaptable marketing assistant to join our reputable construction company's marketing team. We want you to engage in things, company culture, social media strategies to promote our construction projects and services. And so very similar information, but now it is with a construction bent. And previous experience or internships in marketing, preferably within the construction industry. Done. I just had to ask it, 8 words, and it radically shifted the whole thing for me. So now I can bring extra value to my clients who may be looking for similar things, or how do I hire for this, or how do I develop this, or how do I... Hey, absolutely, I'm the go-to guy. I can get this right up for you right away. If we wanted to have fun with ChatGPT, which I do recommend having fun with it, now make it a nursery rhyme. So let's see here. Once upon a time in a bustling town, a marketing assistant, all clever and renowned. Their duties are vast, a jack of all trades, helping a construction company with marketing escapades. I mean, that's pretty fantastic. I'd put that on a job description. And that's the other side of it. To me, technology and these types of things should be fun. We should be enjoying our jobs. We should be not weighed down by the drudgery of tasks that we don't enjoy. And that's where AI is really meant to help us avoid those drudgery tasks.
How would you, I guess, in using some of these tactics and using something like ChatGPT, what is your response to somebody that's going to come to you and say, oh, you use this for your job, obviously, like you want to take shortcuts, so this is kind of a little lazy way to do it without doing the work yourself. What's your response to something like that?
Yeah, and I've actually even had that happen this week. And it was in regards to developing marketing and logos, right? Because you can, in some ways, use these to develop creative services and logos. This is just a tool. And I would ask, how much is your time worth? So would you say $60 an hour or $80 an hour or $200 an hour? Wouldn't it be nice if I'm charging you that amount of money, if I got more done within that hour? Doesn't that provide you a greater value? So isn't it appropriate for me to use the right tools for the right job? So then if I was doing construction, would you expect me to use a handsaw for every single cut and charge you $50 an hour doing it? You'd expect me to use a compound miter saw with a laser and automated leveling system. This is just a tool. This is just a tool. It will not replace people. And if it does replace jobs, then we need to rethink those jobs. So, and I'm a little bit daring on my next point, because if we look at this and say, okay, that was the HR example, well, what about social media? So in the top left, I'm going to actually hit new chat, because I'm going to ask it new questions that I don't want it to associate my previous questions with. So I'm going to start a new chat, and I'm going to ask it, please write 3 social media posts for the topic of why it's good to refinish your floors. So, go green with floor refinishing, sustainable style for your home. Are you looking for a more eco-friendly choice for your home? Floor refinishing is not only a fantastic way to refresh your space, it's also a sustainable option that aligns with your green living goals. Here's why. And it even gives me emojis. Everybody loves emojis. Okay, that gave me three social posts. That's awesome. That's something that a small company, a small startup can do and activate into. But then you say, okay, well, we may not have as big of a social media following. We actually want to email our customers a regular newsletter. Okay, well then just say, now write an email newsletter for the month of July. And I need to scroll down. We hope this email finds you enjoying the warm, sunny days of July. It's time for our monthly newsletter packed with exciting updates, tips, and inspiration to make this summer unforgettable. So sit back, relax, and let's dive in. And it just wrote an email newsletter instantly for me, referencing the data that I wanted to do. Now, once again, we could do it for Shaw flooring. We're running a sale on it. We could do it for vinyl flooring, LVP planks, etc. But at the end of the day, I still have to double check it to make sure that the language is right, that it fits my culture, that it fits all the different elements of my business, right? Once again, it's easier to edit than to create. And we're trying to facilitate that creation process to allow us to do the actual thinking part of our job and develop it that way. Now, it is using the data above, right? Because it's in the same chat, it's going to reference the previous questions. 3 social media posts about refinishing floors. So it's going to pull from that data set. If I just went in and said, hey, give me a new chat, and said, write me a July newsletter, that's not enough information. Now, it'll write something, but it's not going to be specific to your business.
So could you, and I don't know how you made your flyer for today, but so if you went up there and put some things about why you see Adam today at this meeting, could you play with that? Would it pull your background off of the internet, or do you?
So it depends on the versions that because there is a paid version of ChatGPT. Right now, they've pulled most of the features that allow ChatGPT to look at websites. They've pulled that feature temporarily because people were using it to hop firewalls and do security not good things. Once again, lawsuits. There's many lawsuits happening. But that being said, in the future, yes. And I will say some AIs are better than others when it comes to those types of things. I have had success of, if I do a transcript of myself, pull a transcript, throw it in and say, hey, write me a script or a blog in this style of writing, and I give it a transcript, so a data set of me, it is then able to write that blog or script in my voice and vocabulary because it has the data set to reference. But in terms of the colors and some of those other items, it's not able to see those items yet. So for ease of use, we are going to be using Dall-E. Dall-E is OpenAI's visual AI system. I will say Midjourney is a little bit better of an AI system, but it's harder to access for just the general populace, general day-to-day user. So there's ChatGPT, there's Dall-E, click into Dall-E. And I will say Dall-E is paid, and Midjourney is also paid if you go past a certain point, just because it does take a little bit more CPU usage and storage usage to generate these things. And there are licensing concerns, right? Because like if I say, hey, give me a picture of Captain America cleaning and refinishing floors, probably gonna get a lawsuit at somewhere. But if I said, let's see here, we need social media graphics for floors, right? So if we do floors that need refinishing, let's see what it gives us. There's an example of somebody else doing it. Okay, so like this one's kind of good. Like, it looks like there's some stains and some other issues going on. These are floors that need to be refinished. This one's a tile floor that needs to be refinished. So then that brings up the question of, okay, well, do I want wood floors or tile floors? I gotta be specific. And that's where the more specific request, especially for image, is much better. So then if I said let's see here, make a photo for social media about refinishing floors, especially damaged ones that need a lot of sanding. Yeah. I don't know if that's fully accurate because I can't tell if those need sanding or if the guy's trying to paint, right? I don't know why you'd paint your floors. That's kind of weird. And so then it's like, well, okay, and that's not really a compelling social media graphic, right? We're trying to find compelling graphics. And so then this is that element, like I said, of it is easier to edit than to create, right? So then if we said with a before and after of a beautiful oak hardwood floor. A bowl of soup that is already a portal to another dimension, digital. That's interesting. All right, there we go. So now we are getting some before and afters, which they have this one. I mean, I wish this was swapped, right? Like I want the before on the left because that's the way humans think. This one's an interesting one. But then we can click into it and say, okay, I kind of like this one. Give me variations of it. And so now it's saying, okay, based on this one data set and the prompt, make me a few more variations of something similar that I need. And this is way easier than trying to send someone to the field to go and grab a before and after picture. That is horrible to do, horrible to coordinate. You could have any individual sit and say, okay, well, let me do some prompts, let me do some human thinking and generate what we need. And so then we beg the question of, okay, we have all this, can it do marketing, logos, etc.? Right, that's kind of the big thing. So then if I said, hey, redo the Pullman marketing logo. That is data points, those are data sets that are loaded. And just say, hey, if we were to do a new logo, what would it look like? What should it look like? And that's the data set that it decided to pull. Nothing really relevant. I mean, visually, they're all kind of fun and quirky in their own way. Like I'm not gonna say this is bad art. That's silly. There's someone who would probably find it beautiful. But not me, but someone, I'm sure. But if I did want to try something a little bit more eccentric and just say, hey, I need a graphic of, I want digital art, sunset of the Palouse in winter. It looks like the Palouse to me in winter. So then if you needed like a, hey, happy holidays, digital art photo, done.
How much is the paid version?
$15 for like 115 credits, which is like 100 searches, generations. So when we look in terms of like labor usage, to make something like that, that's going to be, I don't know, Claire, how long would it take you to draw that? And this tool doesn't replace her in any way. This, if anything, accelerates our work and our concept design. Because I can say, hey, client, do you want something like this? Here's 3 or 4 variations. Okay, great. We might do some refinement to make sure that it's spot perfect. But for us to just generate some really cool concepts really fast, the $15 for 100 credits, I'll pay that every day.
And I assume you can download these.
Yes.
Use them.
Yes. Yeah. Midjourney has a little bit more of a restrictive licensing, where Dall-E gives you a little bit more commercial licensing abilities. Another example that we like to use, and we use daily, is Otter.ai. We do Zoom meetings a lot. And Otter.ai will hop into our Zoom sessions and record it, which I love. I love having it there, record it, because after the meeting, it gives me a summary of keywords, who the people were, and a transcript of everything that was talked about during that meeting. Now, granted, there are some issues. Our drained insurance agents, it's like, okay, well, the trained insurance agents. But if I click, if I was logged into Otter.ai, if I click on any of this, it will replay the audio from the meeting. So if I do have a question, it'll replay the audio, I can double check it, and I can read and print this as needed. Additionally, this is my screen share. So this is what was shared on the screen during this portion of the meeting. So then I not only have my transcript, I not only have my audio, but I have the context of what our topic discussion was. And if that wasn't cool enough, I then can say, hey, was I mentioned in the meeting? I wasn't in this one, but did they bring me up? And it's like, oh, okay, sure. What were the action items? Like, we took notes, but like, okay, we were supposed to do 3 things. I only remember 2. It'll run through and try and find all the to-do items just by asking the system, what were the decisions? What were the action items? What was this? What was that? And it will analyze the conversation for you so that you can not sit there and watch a Zoom meeting for another 40 minutes. I pay $15 a month for that. That is worthwhile $15 every month. That saves us tons of time, hours, and labor to do the more important jobs. And once again, getting back to Sean's question, that's really giving the client the bang for the buck and accelerating things. Instead of me calling them and saying, hey, I know we just met, but like, what was the third thing we were supposed to do? I wasn't paying attention. It saves you a lot of that kind of embarrassment as well. And so it covers a multitude of items. So what I would like for each of you to do while we have time together, you have note cards on each of the tables. Let's take 10, 15 minutes together and look at ways that we can go home, go back to our offices, and use this almost daily. Like what can we as individuals be using this free tools or vaguely paid for tools to accelerate our businesses? Thank you so much for your time today. We know that your time is valuable, and we're always just so blessed to have people here and to engage. If you do have follow-up questions, do reach out. We are more than happy to have a conversation. How can we use it in our business? We love engaging with people, and we will be sending out a video just kind of recapping today's event as well. So do sign up for the email newsletter off of the table tent so you can scan with the QR code. So thank you and have a wonderful day.